I want to bring it onto a lighter note, and I know you've played a lot of gigs, and you've played a lot of gigs with bands and on your own.
Yep.
What's the most fucking embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you at a gig?
All right. Okay. There's a lot of them, right? But the one I'm going to pick, Jesus, the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you at a gig. The most embarrassing I was at a gig, I think, was I was in my hometown and I was kind of not long back distant, so about 5, 6 years ago. And I was just taking on, like, doing kind of covers of, what everybody does covers of at the time in a bar on a Friday and Saturday night. And I joined a decent blues kind of outfit called the Blue Hawks. And I was enjoying rehearsing with them, just going out, and we had a great little, bond between us that we've always had. And we did some great gigs or whatever. But in between that, I was kind of going out and, playing the Friday night, Saturday night gigs. And I was doing Thursday nights in certain pubs in the town. And this was just the rain was just pissing down. And, where I played in this place, I won't name it, you were under shelter, but you were kind of outdoors. But like it was a smoking area, people were sheltered. But if you were sitting there, you'd be sitting just looking at the rain falling off the
Yeah.
streets and stuff. I'm set up, not trying my best just to go. I need to get through these 2.5 hours because I need to get paid. So you're starting your nights with Palanatini's candy or something going on. This is going to be a long night, man. And people that are in the bar, like because they've just come out, are getting up and leaving. So it started off with maybe 10 people, and then 4 of them left. And you're at that stage of the night that you're going, I really need you to stay tonight because I don't think I can get through these 2.5 hours without just packing this shit up and going home. And my friend Tom, like he's a childhood friend, and like when you're that close with lads, you just take the piss out of each other. And he decided he'd come in to see me play. And at this stage, the whole bar had emptied, and I had Tom sitting in front of me in this bar. It's pissing rain, and I'm going into David Gray or some shite like that. And I kind of had said to him over the mic, listen, Tom, you don't have to stay. It would be better if you just left. Because it's easier to play with absolutely no one here than have to play with you looking at me and looking around at the empty seats and shaking your fucking head at me. Now that was,
The barman could have turned around and said, "Well, there's nobody here. You can go home." But Tom was like, "Well, I'm gonna fuck him up."
because people could come in or whatever, so I had to keep playing, And that ended, and then I was kind of talking to him, and your man had been sticking his head in the bar to see if I was playing. I have to knock out another tune, and just singing to my mate Tom, like in the bar, who thought this was hilarious. Then people came in, and it was okay, but that was a long 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
What's yours?
I'm sure. There's thousands of musicians that have been in there and have done that. Myself,
Mm.
ah, Jesus. See, I'm not at it nearly half as long as you, but I remember when I was 18 and we done a set, and it was just me and a friend, and my friend played guitar, and I sang, and we doing like this live set, and we were in this pub that fair play to them, they actually let us come in, and my friend broke 2 strings and hadn't got any replacement strings, but we still had, like, as you said, like a half an hour to play, and he had to play the rest of the set with 2 broken strings, and it sounded horrible. And everybody's just like, what the fuck? This just sounds rotten. I was there singing away to his broken strings, and it was just like, and people just got up and just walked off, and we were like, and your man turns around and goes, and he stopped us like sort of 5 minutes into it and goes, that's rotten. Just leave. Just leave. You're like, see you later, pal. Thanks for having us.
Oh, look, I was in Scotland. I'm not going to go on the, I used to do a regular gig, and there was a place in Bathgate called the Regal Theatre. I don't know if it's still there, the Regal Theatre. And I started getting Stuart, a guy, a lovely fella, had taken over the running of the theatre at the time, and I was teaching in Broxburg, a place about 16 miles away, and I'd be teaching adult guitar. So there'd be groups of lads, 10 lads coming in, and you'd be showing them guitar, and it was a good time. A lot of good people. And but I get a phone call or get a text from Stuart, and he'd say, "Look, are you free tonight?" And I would get to support comedians. Father Stone was there. The guy that played
Father Stone, yeah.
I supported him. So what would happen was you'd come out, and the first comedian would go on, and he'd do his thing, and they were big enough, and then you'd come in and you'd play for maybe 45 minutes in between, and then the next comedian would be on, and that would be their night, right? And this was going swimmingly grand, no bother. I was enjoying it. But this night I arrived, and I'd arrived early, and I was catching the first act from the beginning, and from start to finish, he just ripped piss out of the Irish. And at first it was kind of and then it was like, oh my God, like, is this going to stop? This is just not funny anymore. This is just like a guy just, but I was trying to be professional. I needed this gig, so I said, I'm not going to say anything to this guy. So he came down, and then it was like, right, Pete, you're on now. And I went, yeah, grand. And the minute I opened my mouth, the comedian went white. He was like, oh shit, he's Irish. And look at the head on him. So I got up anyway, and I was in an angry mood. So I started fucking playing the guitar. With, a bit of rage. And there was this lad just sitting in front of me like that. One of those kind of, the droopy moustaches. And it felt like he'd do it again. He was the only one in the room. I couldn't, as I was playing, I couldn't get into my own head to play the songs. I just kept focusing on this guy looking at me with complete and utter, And I was like, this is going to kick off. What kind of a crowd is this? And the gig finished. The last comedian came out. He kind of resorted to the usual, dick and pussy jokes. And we're all happy. And then it was like the comedian and me and this other guy that was in the audience met at the door, and they were delighted with the first comedian. Oh, you were so hilarious and whatever. And this guy who had been, big guy with the moustache, came up to me and he goes, see you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you can play the guitar, but you can't sing, like, boy, you can't sing. And I had to just, all right, fair enough. Thanks anyway. Thanks for making the effort to come over and say that.
That's it.
Fucking kick me.
Listen, even if a fella like that says you can play guitar, so you can't play guitar and you can't sing, you just go, no bother, pal. Yeah, I'll see you later.
Oh, no. Anyway, most of the nights were good.
Yeah.
So
listen, we're coming up to an hour.
We call it quits.
As I said, what I want to do is I want